Here we go. Are we back? I don't know. We might be back. I don't know. I felt today I needed to record a video because a year ago, with the most momentum I'd ever had as a YouTuber, I stopped making content just overnight. I just stopped, and it's been a year. It has been a year, and now felt like the right time to come back and make a video. I don't know if this is going to become videos. I don't know if there's going to be a podcast at the end of it. I don't know. But I needed to make this video because the last video I released was at the end of last year. And the video was titled, I don't know, like 100 ways in which 2K could improve next year, right? So this was coming into 2K22. And there is a simple truth that 2K have listened and responded to the community in a way they never have before, to the point where what you can see on the screen has happened over the last few weeks. I am fully invested in this game again in a way I haven't been for a long time. And I'm not someone who will ever play a game if I'm not enjoying it. I just won't. And I'm not going to go back to all the problems we had before. But 2K have taken steps to make this a way more enjoyable game. And it comes down to one sentence. It really comes down to one sentence. There is content for everyone. But not all content is for everyone. That is 2K22. It doesn't matter how you want to approach this game. There is something for everyone. And there's still flaws to be. There's still 2 specific flaws. But that's it. Considering a year ago I did a video saying there was 100 things they need to improve on. The truth is 90% of those things have been improved on. And there's only 2 sort of issues that I have left in this game at all. That's the truth. So let's do a bit of a deep dive on it. Let's see the improvements that they've made and why those things are so important and why they're bringing people like me who completely checked out of the 2K franchise back to the game. So let's start with a couple of the things that still annoy me a little bit, okay? And they don't annoy me as much as the average person, and I'm going to explain that too. If you look at this team on the screen, it looks like I played this game for about 12 hours a day, every day for 3 weeks. I can assure you that is the furthest thing from the truth. So RNG is one of the most sort of widely criticized things about 2K, and it is a problem for people that don't get the luck, right? Your opinion on RNG is basically based on your luck. It's not something that's affected me at all this year. Now, I know I'm on an island. I'm not speaking for everyone because I know there are certain people out there that have played thousands of games and never seen a card. But just look at this team for a second. This is Albert King, Clutch Time Wheel. So he's an RNG card. I got him in 70 games. Marcus Johnson I got on the first run. He was available. What are the other ones? Richard Dumas, I got 2 of them in the space of a week. You know, playing 10 games maybe. Popped up relatively straightforwardly. Bill Lambier took 20 games or so. He was one I actually grinded for because he was the last card I had left. So I actually played TT offline for couple of hours and then ended up getting him, but he took a little bit longer. Matt Calvin was on my first draft board around the draft. Jerry Sloan I got off Ascension. Bradley Beal I think was maybe 1, maybe 2 boards on TTO. So there are people out there that are still really, really struggling to get hold of these cards. Like I know there are. You know, DBG in particular said he's played I think 1,300 clutch time games and never seen an RNG reward, but I'm not that person. And from what I can see, for the majority of people, they're also not that person. If you actually go through my collection, there is a bunch of RNG cards in. Let's see if we can find a few more. Kyle Lowry was RNG. Sean Kemp was RNG, was on the Clutch Time Wheel. Who else have we got here? Rafa was RNG. Jeremy Grant was RNG. Abdul Rahim was RNG. Who else? Issel. I mean, you can see. And I really want to emphasize, I don't play the game the way you think I do. Looking at this, Reggie Lewis is there. You know, I've got Michael Red, Wayne Embry. Wayne Embry wasn't RNG, was he? But yeah, I don't play the game the way you think I do, right? Like if you look at my clutch time record, you saw I had every clutch time reward. I played 400 games over 4 seasons. My record randomly got reset in January, so this is like from January to now, right? I've won 400 games, I should say. That's not a lot. That's like enough just to get clutch time done every season, like the 100 wins. I'm not excessively grinding the mode. I've always got the clutch time reward within 100 games. So I've never had to play beyond. I do sometimes because I find the mode fun, and we're going to get onto that later. But I think the odds are way up. you know, I watch streamers now. I still watch 2K content. You can see a lot of the time on the TTO boards, and like out of the vault, you know, these cards do pop up. They do. And, you know, it's not as big a problem as it was last year. It is still a problem for, like I said, certain people. But it's not as big a problem as it was last year. The other issue I've got, guys, is like... The other two issues I've got are basically on the same thing. It's just Unlimited is still insufferable. SBMM plus Algo is just... This is a negative experience. It's not fun. It's the one thing about this game I don't enjoy. But I want to caveat that. Because I don't have to play Unlimited. If I want to... You know, I've always been a purist with my team. And the point is you build a squad and go online and use that squad. If you're not doing that, you know... It's questionable what the purpose of the mode becomes. Is it card collecting, whatever? Some people think that's okay. For me, it needs to be you build a squad to go online and play. And Unlimited is still toxic. The SBMM plus Algo, if they can kill off at least SBMM, I think at that point we're at the best case scenario. Because Algo's never going to go anywhere. They need to appeal to casuals. But if they can kill off SBMM, even Unlimited is where we need it to be. And let's not forget, they changed it to 12 and 4. So a lot of the toxicity about Unlimited has gone. That feeling, I can't remember the term I used to use, like there's consequences for everything or something, you know? With Unlimited, if you had a bad game, it could cost you everything. If you got hoed, it could cost you everything. That feeling has gone away now because they've created space, you know? I always said they can't expect perfection if the game mode isn't perfect. We still get error codes, things like that. Changing it to 12 and 4 was huge for 2K. For the main game mode, which should be unlimited, that's massive, but it's still not enjoyable, and it won't be until they get rid of SBMM. It just won't be. But that's it, guys. They're my issues, and I've already touched on some improvements like 12 and 4, RNG, odds getting better, all of this stuff. But we're going to go further with it. We really need to talk about the steps that 2K have taken. Now, I'm starting with TTO for a reason, because this was the first game mode they fixed this year, right? I don't know if you remember going back, but you had this scenario where you could win like 6 games in a row and still get, you know, knocked out if you gave up 19 points per game. The mode was broken, you know, you could lose more games and have more success. Like that was basically the way the mode was set up. It was completely broken. They addressed it in weeks. Within weeks, they addressed it. And actually now it's at a point where you can lose 5 games and still get to that top tier. And, you know, I do a lot of the time. You know, I lose 3, 4, 5 games. TTO is probably the mode I'm the worst at. But, you know, 9 times out of 10, I'll get to the top tier. And that's because of the way they set it up. So, again, even though RNG is still there, the odds of you seeing that top board are, you know, really, really high. Really high. Even if you're bad, average at the game, you've still got a very realistic shot at seeing those top 3 ball drops every time. And how can you criticize that? That's a response. That was a call and response from the community to 2K. They just listened and went, you know what? We did mess it up. And they've just made it ridiculously easy to get these rewards. They just have. And the next mode I want to talk about is clutch time. So adding this mode in answered a huge question in that video that I did last year, right? Which is, when are we going to get a casual 5v5 game mode? Now, do you use your main squad? No. But you do use your best 5 players, right? And if you're me, you experiment and run random squads and everything like that. This is an absolute no consequences mode. I will usually run clutch time first. I'll get the actual 100 wins done as soon as possible. And then every time I click on this each win thing, it's a free game. There's nothing on the line. I can just jump in and play. It's absolutely a casual mode. People are talking about skill-based matchmaking being in clutch time. It's definitely not. It's 100% not. I don't have win ratios like that with SBMM. I don't. Unlimited, it's like closer to, I don't know, 65, 70%. Like, I'm not... There's no shot. There's no shot. So, clutch time is a mode. Now, you do play a lot of sweaty squads because you're always playing someone's best 5, right? So, you will have people out there that will just build a clutch time team because they're never going to play unlimited. So, they'll invest all their MT in 5 amazing players. That doesn't mean they're good at the game. SBMM is not about squads. I think it's important to understand that. Matching up with a squad doesn't, like a good squad doesn't mean there's SBMM there. I do play some really bad teams now and then. Most people I play have an amazing squad, but, you know, the skill levels go up and down. And I win the majority of my games, which will 100% tell you SBMM isn't there. Which makes this a casual 5v5 game mode. It's awesome. I was critical of Clutch Time when they first announced it. I thought the 4-point line would be a bit sketchy. I wasn't really sure what to make of it. I hated the fact that they actually introduced the casual 5v5 game mode and then gimmicked it with the 4-point line. To be honest, I love it. I think it's fantastic. Not a criticism here, and just hugely important to people who don't want to play Unlimited. Because Monday to Friday, if you wanted to play online last year, you could play TTO and that was it. Limited was at weekends, that was it. This is hugely important. Really thoughtful from 2K, and probably my favourite game mode in the whole game right now. So next up, let's talk about the draft. And the draft is important for a whole different reason, right? It shows 2K haven't rested this season. That's what the draft shows, because this game mode has been dead all year. It's been absolutely dead all year. I played it, I can't remember who I got. I got one of the draft rewards a couple of months ago. It was the only draft run I'd done. I did it. I managed to get the reward. You can see I've got 10 tokens now. Like, no, you know, it just wasn't the mode for anyone really. It was boring. The cards were boring, and they updated it like 2 weeks ago, which again shows that 2K haven't turned that switch off. They've continued to listen. They, you know, you could argue it took them way too long or whatever. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, if they're listening and they're responding, that's great for us. And the last draft I did was last week where we got Matt Calvin and we went 10-0. And I got the most insane draft you've ever seen. If you go on my Twitter, you could see it. But my backup point guard was Kate Cunningham. Like, it was insane. But now I'm at a point, and I'm genuinely at a point, where I just want to draft teams. Whether I play or not doesn't matter. Like, you know, I could quite happily, despite the fact already having Matt Calvin, do the draft again this season because it was so much fun. It was fun to draft the team and it was fun to play the game. And that's what this needs to be about. It can't always be about the rewards. If the concept is fun and people just want to play for the sake of playing it, it's similar to Clutch Time. Once I've got the rewards, I will keep playing it. That's what this game mode should be about. It should be about playing the game and the ideas and the concepts being fun. And again, with the draft and the updates they've done a couple of weeks ago, they've done exactly that with this mode. You can't knock it. You just can't. So I want to touch on Limited really quickly. And this is probably the longest kind of thing that it took 2K to respond to that was very broken. And ultimately, I'm sad to say they completely fumbled. But the thought process was there again. And again, you cannot criticize 2K because they put out a statement saying they've heard what we've said about the Limited rewards, which have been terrible for 2 years. They've just been terrible. They've been unusable always. And they've tried before to hold things back till the end of the season. They've tried different things. This time they went, you know what, you guys decide. Now, they made two mistakes. The first one was when they put the poll out to let us decide the cards, they put them out in the community hub in the game, right? Which ultimately meant the first thing was going to get selected every time because people would just want to get their token and get out. So when the positions came up, everyone picked point guard because it was the first option, and now there's picking John Stockton because it was the first option. Now, there's kind of an irony about this, right? Because we criticize the reward because we say 2K are lazy and they can't update it and they don't listen to us, and then we do exactly the same thing when we're given the opportunity to pick. Everyone's lazy and they pick the first option for the token. That's one of the mistakes they made. The other mistake is the actual options are just terrible. I mean, none of these are getting used. There's no point picking a card if it's still unusable. You're just picking the unusable card. But I don't want the point to get lost in all of this. 2K tried to address it. They made a mistake. They didn't do it the right way. But again, it just shows that they at least acknowledged there was a problem and tried to implement a solution. And this season, it hasn't worked. Let's see what next season brings. But again, just for the effort that they've made to include us in this, to help us find the solution, to acknowledge the problems that were there, how do you knock it? You can't. You cannot knock it. It's impressive. They are clearly trying to address the issues in this game, and I'm all for it. I am all for it. Okay, let's talk about XP. So, XP to me, I've always been vocal about this, is my least favourite game mode. It bores me to tears. I just have to say, I hate it. I hate grinding it, but it's easier than it's ever been. I mean, it just is. It's easier than it's ever been, and it's not even close. That sentence is overused in this community, but it's absolutely true. One of the interesting things is the rewards this year for level 40 were bad. So that in itself, for me, was a good thing because it meant I didn't need to touch it. right? I didn't want AI. I didn't really want Yao. I didn't want any of those. Ray Allen was the first reward I went for, and the only reason I went for him is because I had the showdown reward for that season. But you can see here, there is fun XP in here, and that's the big difference they've made. They've started introducing, like, game mode specific XP, right? You know, score X amount of points in limited or in unlimited or whatever, like win X amount of games in limited or unlimited or clutch time or what, you know, that stuff, great, because I can just play the game then and get XP. And again, this is something we've spoken about a lot in the past, is you should get XP for just playing the game. When that stuff drops, that's when I get invested in this, because then I can just play. I can jump online, have fun, play someone else. You know, hopefully the rewards are done by then. I'm not paying consequences. A lot of the time, those XP agendas make things like unlimited easier as well, because suddenly you've got casuals on the mode, and I'll usually try and time it so I, you know, get the reward in that time, so I run into as many of them as possible. But it's just good. You know, stuff like this, it's good. You know, and they've had the troll ones, you know, with the Tai Lu 15,000 XP. I mean, it's a joke. Let's be honest. At this point in the year, you could do this in a few days. A few days and you're done. I mean, it really is that. I mean, where is the Tai Lu XP? Is it in here? 15,000 XP to score 25 points with a half-decent gold card. Right, I'm going to stay on this because we're here. Let's talk about this event. Again, guys, it's phenomenal. It's great. It's daily login stuff. Like, the first few days, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really grinding the game. I was logging in every day, 4 or 5 minutes, getting whatever agenda this was done. I was getting the XP done when I was still doing XP as well. No reason to do that anymore. And then I would turn the game off because I had nothing else to do. But this has kind of brought me back into the game. I think me logging in every day has caused me to kind of just stick around a little bit more each time, you know? First few times I just logged in, got the card and logged out. By this point, I was like, hold on a minute, some of these cards are fun. Like, let's try them out. You know, by the time we got here, you know, I was back to playing a few hours a day. It's a very clever marketing ploy. I mean, it really does suck you back into the game because you need to log back in and you need to play every day. But if you just want to play for 5 minutes every day, you're up to date on this. And, you know, if you want to use these cards and have fun with them, you can do that too. There's nothing to complain about here. This is good. It'll be interesting to see where it lands. I'm going away next week, so I'm going to miss 2 weeks. Hopefully I can find someone to do the rest of this for me. But it's just fun. It's good. It's clever. I like it. And the next thing I'm going to touch on, guys, which is to me the most important thing they've done, and probably what's led to me releasing the video today, is the events over the last 2 weekends. The Easter egg pack thing 2 weeks ago, and last week we had the Decades packs, were the 2 best events 2K have ever run. For every single game mode, for every single win, they gave us packs with the odds to pull decent players, and then they introduced cards like this into every game mode. The replayability over those weekends is something I've never seen on 2K. There was never a reason to stop playing. You could always benefit from it. I pulled a bunch of these Kobe's when he was at 100k. People are saying it's bots and stuff. I don't know. I sold a bunch of them. Guys, this weekend I made 1 million MT playing a few hours each day. 1 million MT. It paid for my Ben Simmons. That is what we want to see as a community. Yeah, you know, we can sit there. My sniping days are kind of behind me. I don't have the patience anymore. But I still want to make MT in the game. And what an amazing way to do it. You know, I pulled KG out of one of those Decades packs and he sold for over 100k, like this 75th anniversary edition. I mean, it was just awesome. It was so good. And, you know, the multiple opportunities, they put the packs on the TTO boards and the clutch time wheel and all of that as well. So you had all these opportunities. And then just the hype surrounding all those cards. Clyde Drexler on the TTO boards. The Easter egg hunt pack, you know, I saw JD Crossover pull Dark Matter Zion out of those packs. Out of 3 packs for winning a game. He pulled Dark Matter Zion, who at the time was probably the best card in the game. You can still argue he's there now. But that is 2K giving back, giving us something to invest in and making it worthwhile. Because they've done events like this before that haven't been worthwhile. And that's the difference for me now. The events were fun and they delivered. They gave you a return. They did a similar thing last year, but I don't know, the glitch pack. I can't remember what they were called. There were some packs last year that were similar. There would be like a ornamental ball in there. Like, that's it. That was your best case scenario. That's not fun. That's just a gimmick. This is actually designed to be fun and give us something in return. And it did that. You know, Carlo made 5 million MT this weekend. You know, it's how can you criticize it? You just can't. This is on top of everything else we just spoke about. It's fantastic. It really is. Okay, there's probably a bunch of other stuff we could talk about, but I want to move on to my final point here, which is another just really big deal that we just don't talk about enough. And that's kind of the point I'm going to make at the end of this. This is every free dark matter from this season. It looks like I've been grinding the game non-stop. Trust me, I haven't. I would describe it as I've played enough to get all of these cards, okay? Certain clutch time, 10 win runs took me half an hour. The rage quits that kick in. Unlimited was toxic. Didn't enjoy it. Anyway, let's talk about the cards, because that's important now. Josh Giddey, when he came out, third best point guard in the game. Arguably. Right? You could argue either way. Some people have him higher, some people have him lower. But third best point guard in the game, that feels balanced for an XP reward. It just does. It doesn't make it must do, but it also makes it really worthwhile. That is exactly what the XP reward should be. Albert King, when he came out, was certainly a top 5 shooting guard in the game. Probably not anymore because of the drop since. Is Marcus Johnson completely underrated? What a phenomenal card. He's my starting small forward in my main squad, by the way. This isn't my main squad. But I start him at small forward because he's fantastic. Bob Netalicki is the best power forward in the game. And he's available in Unlimited. Guys, the Unlimited reward is the best card in its position. How long have we spoken about the fact that the Unlimited rewards were underwhelming? Cincinnati's power was the same. I absolutely loved that card. It's so good to see this grind, as toxic as it is, as bad as it is, be worthwhile. Because I assure you, if Bob Netalicki wasn't the reward, I would not have the Unlimited reward. They need to make it worthwhile, and they've done it. Fantastic. Token rewards. Guys, again, how long have we spoken about the token market being dead in 2K? 2 years? Since 2K20 and D-Rob and Penny. That was the last time we were excited about token rewards. Dikembe's the top 3 center in the game. And he's a token reward. It's unreal. Let's talk about the rest of it. Richard Dumas, fantastic card. Worthy, horribly underrated. Bill Laimbeer is terrible. Let's skip past him. Matt Calvin, again, not great. Let's skip past him. But I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the draft reward get better next season. But I think with the draft, it's more about the mode than the reward. And I think it should be that way. I would rather the reward be bad and the mode be fun than the other way around. I'm just going to put that out there. But they could definitely do better there. Sloan was good when he came out. I know people love that Bradley Beal. I'm not a fan. And then you've got these play-in, playoff agendas. Again, it's just more and more content. It's more and more things to do. I just want to end where I started, guys. There is something for everyone to do in this game. There is content for everyone. But not all content is for everyone. You don't need to do what I do. If you just want to play offline, fine. Get cards like Giddey. Get cards like Mutombo. Have some fun with it. Get Richard Dumas. Whoever you want, just go and get them. You don't need to do all of it. You don't need to play the modes you don't want to play because there is enough to do in the modes you want to play. And it just has to be said one final time. I have been 2K's biggest vocal critic for 2 years. I disliked the game to the point where I peaked as a content creator. When I say peaked, my last 2 videos were reacted to by DBG and Ty Debo. I literally couldn't have been in a better place as a content creator, but I literally physically couldn't turn the game on because I just didn't want to play it. 2K21 was a mess. It was a mess. And over the course of this year, 2K have responded to almost all of those criticisms. We haven't talked about the gameplay, but things like speed bursts have gone. The gameplay is better. However you want to describe it, is better. Gameplay just isn't the issue, guys. It's fine. The gameplay is fine. SBMM and Algo are the issue. Things like speed boost, all of that, it's gone. It's gone. The over-the-top exploits of yesterday are gone. The gameplay is fine. That isn't the issue SBMM and Algo are. I just want to give props to 2K. I didn't think in my lifetime I'd ever get reinvested in this game mode, and I did. Fair play to them. Guys, I don't know what comes next. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, thanks for watching.